Ladies and gentlemen, we want to dedicate this episode to one of our very special guests who suddenly passed away on August 24th, 2021. Big Jim Anderson, Jim Parella. Rest in peace, big guy. I want to extend my deepest condolences to your friends and family. We all love you. We're all going to miss you. And thank you so much for everything you've done to the professional wrestling business. If you all can bow your heads for this moment of silence, for this 10-bell salute and dedication to Big Jim Anderson, Jim Parella. Thank you, everyone. Big Jim Anderson, Jim Parella, rest in peace. And thank you for being a part of the 5-Star Revolution podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5-Star Revolution podcast, the one and only official 5-Star Revolution podcast. Join us on Facebook. Go to Facebook right now. Like and share our Facebook page, 5-Star Revolution podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5-Star Revolution podcast. We're still doing a $200 Visa gift card. So share our Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe right now. Tonight, we have a very special guest, a veteran of the wrestling business. His name is Reggie Lincoln. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm good. I'm good, man. Just trying to relax. That's all it is, man.
I hear you that how you there, and thank you so much once again for joining us right here on the 5-Star Revolution podcast. It's a true pleasure, my friend.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine, man. I'm honored to be here.
So let's start from the beginning here. Where did you get your start in the world of professional wrestling? How did you get your start?
Uh, I I started out being trained by Killer Tim Brooks. Just one day I was having a conversation with a friend of mine wrestling. It was in Walmart, and I just happened to run into Killer Tim Brooks. And those don't know, just check out the wrestling from the territory days. You'll definitely know who he is, one of the toughest wrestlers like of that day, of that time. Rest in peace to Killer Brooks, of course. That's where I got my start back in. I started training back in 2010, and I had my first match in 2011.
All right, and who was your first match against, and what do you remember from that match?
Joey Garcia, and I remember I was nervous, a nervous wreck the whole time. Sitting there trying to be something I'm not. When I realized, like, I truly haven't found my footing in wrestling yet. At the time, nobody's fault at all. It just comes with the territory. But just moved too fast, and pretty much you could tell. Like, if I ever find the footage from it, you can tell that I still had a lot to learn.
What would you tell that Reggie Lincoln who started wrestling 10 years ago today?
Stop being so stubborn. Get it together. Uh, don't worry so much. Uh, things will happen. Don't rush things because and watch the company you keep because everybody's not what they seem, and not everybody is there for your benefit. It's more for their benefit. That's definitely the advice I would tell. Like the Reggie Lincoln now would tell Reggie Lincoln back in 2011. Oh, and also take care of your body. Take care of your body as much as you can, because you're not gonna have it forever. Trust me.
Were you a fan growing up of professional wrestling? If so, who was your favorites growing up?
Oh man, you said we only have a half hour, don't you? Oh yes, I was a huge fan of professional wrestling. Uh, I could tell you right now, like funny story is being a fan of basketball as a kid turned me into a fan of professional wrestling. Like starting out, I would watch wrestling here and there, and I would enjoy it, but I was just wasn't like a huge fan yet until I saw Dennis Rodman and he joined the NWO. And see, at that time, I was thinking, like any kid growing up in the '90s, you're a big fan of Michael Jordan, and I was thinking, if Dennis Rodman is doing this, I'm sure that Michael Jordan is gonna come and join the NWO as well. That never happened, but it turned me into a wrestling fan, which I watched WCW here and there, and like I was always a fan of the Road Warriors or the Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them. Like I was a fan of tag team wrestling, like through and through. Like the Road Warriors and Harlem Heat. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing about them. And then there was also people like Mankind, The Rock, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, the usuals. But me, it was I was always looking forward to, the tag team stuff with, like I said, the Road Warriors and with Harlem Heat.
Even though we didn't get Michael Jordan, like you said, we at least got Karl Malone to join.
Yeah, we got Karl Malone in wrestling, but then again, that was when the Bulls were playing against the Jazz. So, I was kind of against Karl Malone. Although although now when I look back at it, now I understand more. Like I should have been rooting for Karl Malone. I just couldn't. I couldn't. Karl Malone was against Michael Jordan, so I'm against Karl Malone.
So, for those listeners who don't know Reggie Lincoln, you mind explaining a little bit about who you are and your character?
Ah, whew. Different character. I done had different character changes as I grew in this business. I'll tell you that for sure. But if you talking about the me now, instead of when I was big time Reggie Lincoln, I'm just a man that's trying to keep the humbleness to himself, like keep humble. That likes to have fun. That likes to have fun. Like what you see out there in the ring, what I do, it's really me. It's really me at peace with myself and still doing my best to prove myself to myself. I've always been my own biggest critic. So, but there was a time where I had this afro. For those who don't know about this time, that was a time I had a big afro. I wore bell bottom pants in the ring. Uh, I came out the flashlight by Parliament. I was that guy. If you had pretty much, I was doing that since 2012. I did that from 2012 to 2017. I was No Way Jose, Adam Rose, Brodus Clay. I was all of them wrapped in one.
So, you're pretty much a fun character for the kids.
Yeah. But then, there's also a time where I tried my best to do the whole cancel culture thing. And that from 2017 to, well, I guess 2020, that's what I was. I was cancel culture, pretty much. The typical, hey, I'm gonna cancel you now. You know how what how it grew now, that's what I was in 2020. And now, since everybody else is making me face, uh, it's just me having fun now. Pretty much someone like a Carlton Banks, you know, just a guy trying to have fun, pretty much. Still learning. Maybe I'm a little cheesy. I like to joke around though.
So, as a veteran in the wrestling business, I'm assuming you've played both face and heel. What's your favorite thing to do and why?
Whatever gets the fans' attention more, to be honest. Whatever gets the fans' attention more, and to be real with you, whatever makes me more money. I got to be realistic about that. But whatever the fans enjoy or what grabs the fans' attention, what can get them in tune with the show, that's what I prefer. Now, what I don't prefer is like, well, I was trained old school, so pretty much, and this is just due to bad booking or bookers not knowing what they're talking about or doing. All right, what I don't prefer is me being faced at one place and then another show 30 minutes away, I'm a heel or something like that. Or, when the booking don't make sense, that's what disappoints me the most. Or like, this is my enemy here, and then the next day, same show, same location, we're friends. We got to be, but like, and I've experienced that over my next month to make it 10 years for me. I experienced that over the times, like when the bookers don't know what they're doing, but I get told, "Hey, I'm having the wrong attitude towards it. Just do what you're told." Pretty much, which means, yeah, I know it sucks, so just do it. I know it don't make sense, just do it. Which I mean, that's always been a problem with wrestling.
So, how do you deal with those promoters that have heat with each other and say to you, "You can't wrestle over there. You can't wrestle at that show." What do you tell them?
Well, first of all, I'm under contract. Second of all, are you going to match what they paying me or pay me more? Because if not, I'm an independent contractor. I work where I please. And if you can't accept that, then maybe we shouldn't do business. Um, because I done seen promoters do that. Now a lot of them, to be honest, haven't had the nerve to do that to me. I haven't experienced that much. That hey, if you work for this guy, you can't work for me. I mean, I have not experienced that. I can honestly say that, but I can't say if that ever happens to me. That is my response, no matter who it is. And then they're just I don't even talk to them. I just walk away and I never work for them again. I'm not, I'm not gonna say names, but there's you'll notice because I won't say nothing about their shows or good or bad. I won't say nothing about their shows, and I don't even mention their names anymore.
So, you're keeping up to 10 years in the wrestling business. How do you deal with backstage politics nowadays?
Back then, I was trying to please everybody. Like now that I'm older and grown in the business more and everything, I learned that's something that's always going to exist, no matter what we do. No matter what, that's always going to exist in wrestling. That's always going to exist in life. The backstage politics, and I hate it. I really hate it. I'm always going to hate it, but the it's always going to exist. I just got to know, hey, sometimes you need to stay out the way, and sometimes you just stay to yourself sometimes and just hey do what you got to do. Don't worry about politicking with the boys or something like that. Now, not gonna lie to you, some of us may hate it, and some of us although we hate it, we do it without even realizing it. And I know I'm guilty of that. So like I said, I hate politicking, but I know I'm guilty of it myself. Now, a lot of people won't admit that, but I'm one that will, like, because I believe in honesty. I believe in honesty and being realistic. So, and I got to be realistic about myself as well. Yes, I've been guilty of politicking. Do I realize it when I'm doing it? No, I don't. Do I realize later on, like, oh yeah, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, why am I acting like this? But it's the way of the business, it's the way of the world, man. And like, there's nothing we can do to stop that.
100% facts, my friend, and I agree with you there. Sometimes wrestlers don't realize that they're politicking, but sometimes you got to do it to get ahead in the business. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes doing it will actually hold you back. And sometimes like I've looked back in the past and I've noticed when I finally realized, hey, I was trying to politic here. And that's probably why I'm not in the that's why I'm held back in the position I'm in, or that's why I didn't advance to the level I should be at, or something like that. I either I didn't politic the right way or I didn't politic at all, something like that. You know what I mean?
So, what motivates you and what inspires you to keep wrestling?
I'm a father to a 3, soon to be 4 year old son, and I want to teach him, hey, never give up on what you want to do. Never give up. Like when it's your time to go. But if this is something like when you see something you love doing and it's your passion, don't ever give up on it. And I want to teach my son that, and my son seems to enjoy it.
Very good answer, man. That's very inspirational, and I wish a lot of people thought like you.
Yeah, well, we all don't think that way. Like sometimes I have like I said, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I have my negative thoughts as well, or like, oh man, I can't believe I'm still doing this. Like, oh, I'm gonna quit and all that. Like, but knowing me, like, it's hard to get me to quit. Like, you're probably gonna have to kill me for me to quit.
So, have you had the opportunity to share the locker room with any legends or veterans that we might know?
Uh, yeah, I have. I'm fortunate to say that I have. People like, well, of course, Killer Tim Brooks, who I trained with. Um, One of my favorite moments in my wrestling career was working with Iceman King Parsons. Although it wasn't a match, the fact that I got to work with him of all people, that's honestly a great, amazing moment in my, if you call it a career. Uh, I worked with him. That I worked with Iceman King Parsons and shared the locker room with him. Uh, who else can I say? I mean, I've met people like Scott Hall, and while he doing an autograph signing or just a special guest, I've been in the locker room with him. Yeah. And I've also had WWE bookings where I've been backstage with the usuals, the McMahons, Triple H, people that you see in WWE. Working with Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman, people like that. I'm fortunate enough to say that I can look at this and not have any regrets or say that I worked with these people. I've met them.
I don't mean to cut you off, my friend, but your audio seems a little muffled.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Am I clear to you?
Here you go, better. Yes.
Okay. Do I need to repeat all of that?
No, 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 that's fine, man. I heard you a little bit. You said that you shared the WWE backstage with Braun Strowman and guys like that, Triple H.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Well, I said this for myself when I first started on the independent scene. I first started. I said my goal was to at least have one booking with WWE, even if it's a small booking. My goal is to at least have one booking with WWE before the age of 30. And I I accomplished that goal at 26. So I could say I don't have nothing to look back on and be sad about. I'll say that for sure. But I do learn, certain like I definitely learned about politicking that day too. I'll say that for sure. Like the being in the WWE locker room, and I know a lot of people gonna hate to say this, hate for me to say this, and uh, I have a story that I'm not gonna get into just yet. But if it came to the subject of white privilege in professional wrestling, it does exist, and I learned that in the WWE locker room. I can say that for sure. But we're gonna have to save that story for another interview because that's a long story.
Speaking of stories, do you have any funny road stories you mind sharing with us?
I don't know because a lot of times I'm guilty. I'm guilty of being the one that sleep on the road a lot or being the drunk. But I could say there was one time, and I would I could say I was traveling with through. We was traveling through places like Georgia and Mississippi and North Carolina. Everything. It was myself, Jamie Holly, Tyler Jack, and CW Shadows, and we needed gas. We need to pull over for gas. Where of all places we had to pull over for gas at that time too. And of all places, we pull over at a gas station in a rough neighborhood in the rough neighborhood of East Atlanta. And there was some sketchy looking guys standing outside. It wasn't a big culture shock to me, but it was my first time in Atlanta, of course. But it wasn't that big of a culture shock to me to see stuff like that. But to the other three guys in the car, it definitely was a culture shock. They had never seen cashiers behind bulletproof glasses and all that stuff. And, the sketchy looking guys just standing at the door, eyeballing them and everything like that. So they they had to ask me, hey, it's your turn to go get the gas, even though I mean it really was my turn to go get the gas and pump it and pay for it and all that. But I just wanted to mess with them. I'm like, why is it me? Because they never seen anything like this. They were scared, and these it's three white people and one black guy. So of course they're gonna ask me, of all people, to go and get pay for the gas and everything. Because we all took turns driving and paying for the gas. And me and Tyler Jett, we talk about this story all the time. There's certain parts of that road trip that me and certain other guys talk about, like, and me and CW Shadows, who's an East Texas guy, when he was on the road trip with this woman, after we wrestled in Mississippi, this woman just came up to us, this much older woman, just told us, well, some very dirty things, very sexual things. That like, but how our wrestling made her feel. And I joke with him all the time, like that could have been an Xavier Woods and Brad Maddox opportunity right there, man. Why'd you pass that up? But I know I wouldn't do nothing like that anyway. Um, but yeah, it's like different stories, that I can go back on and everything. Oh man, like um, I don't know what stories I can tell you, like which ones I can tell you, like you can't do this for as long as I've done it and not have any stories. Because if you don't have stories for this, you don't had a boring life, or you didn't do much.
So, what can
Uh,
we expect out of Reggie Lincoln in the next 3 years?
What did you say?
What can we expect out of you in the next 3 years?
Well, now that I've had a booking in WWE before I'm 30. I'm 30 now. I'm 30 and I'm under 6 feet, so I'm not expecting anything from WWE anymore. Uh, my goal is at least one AEW dark booking before before I'm 35. At least one. Now, what to expect? You can expect me to go through the small, well, not small, but through the areas of Texas that I do wrestle in. Of course, the Oklahoma scene, going to Kansas. I'm still trying to travel all over and do this. If there's anybody that wants Reggie Lincoln, feel free to catch me on my social media, on Instagram or TikTok and all that. But I definitely like to come to wherever and whenever. You can also expect me in Tennessee and other states as well.
So besides AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, are there any other independent promotions that you want to debut at that you have your eye on?
Um, GCW is one of them. At least once at MLW. Let's see what independent promotions, like, because I mean I don't turn many down. I'll say that for sure. Like, if I turn you down, there's something really wrong with you. It's something really wrong with that place or with the booker or the promoter or whoever there. If I ever turn them down, there's something wrong. You know, of course, I would love an NWA booking, championship wrestling in Hollywood or Florida, whatever, wherever the championship wrestlings are now. Because, they're in different states and stuff now. Championship wrestling for Arizona, championship wrestling for Hollywood, championship wrestling from the Sunshine State or whatever they call it. Any NWA promotion, I will do. I would love to go there. So it'll be great for me to go to any promotion and just do great business with them.
Sounds good, man. I wish you luck that you can make it to one of those promotions that you just mentioned. We would love to see you in one of those matches.
I would love to be there.
Speaking of matches, what's your dream match and why?
So, as first of all, I need to know your definition of a dream match.
Currently wrestling, a current wrestler who you love to wrestle right now.
Wow, wow, that is a good question. Uh, I would say Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor. Yeah,
He's a good wrestler, man.
like Shane Taylor, Jeff Cobb, uh, any of the current guys that are wrestling right now. Yeah, Shane Taylor, he's one of them. Jeff Cobb is another one. Um, who else can I say? Um, Fuego del Sol.
He's coming up on the rise, man.
Yeah, I've been wanting to wrestle that guy for the past 3, 4 years. Like, before, I know it was a time before AEW even existed. I've been wanting to wrestle him, but nobody in Texas wanted to make it happen.
Oh no, Reggie. There you go.
Okay, sorry. I guess we lost signal there.
Now we're good now. I have one more last question for you, bro. Before I
Oh,
let you
it's coming, man.
go. So my last question for you is, if you had one piece of advice for someone that is looking to get into the professional wrestling business, what would that be?
Well, I can't say just one piece of advice, but my main piece of advice: watch the company you keep. Watch the company you keep because that could be what ruins you. Keep your head level, and you know, of course, being in wrestling, starting out, you're gonna be naive to certain things. You're going to be because you're still trying to learn. But like I said, watch the company you keep because they're not always gonna be there. And from a recent friend in the business, who I consider a brother in the business, like one of my closest friends who recently passed away. Everybody in the business don't love you like that. They may say good things about you online or something like that, but they don't love you like that. Like you gotta like that, and that's why I say watch the company you keep because it takes it takes a true level of friendship to know that. And he told me this before he passed away. I'll say that not everybody loves you like that. Like you think they may say whatever. And he wasn't lying because I mean his funeral was back in May, I think. His funeral was back at that time. And I would say this. A lot of people said good things about him. That was more fans than other wrestlers that showed up to his funeral. You can count on one hand how many wrestlers showed up to his funeral. So, and rest in peace of Sean Bex as well. Uh, but I mean, of course, there's many with legitimate excuses why they were in the hospital or something like that. But uh, you know, your real company is the ones that'll show you love no matter what. So, and that's my biggest piece of advice there. Watch the company you keep.
Well, Mr. Reggie Lincoln, that's very good advice. We enjoyed your time here on the Five Star Revolution podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any social media or shows that you want to plug before we let you go?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Reggie Lincoln. Um, and you can follow me on TikTok at Reggie Lincoln. Uh, I got a Twitter, Reggie Lincoln 91. I do need Twitter followers. Like my Twitter sucks. Um, and of course, there's Facebook. But I haven't been as active this past week, so. But yeah, that's my social media, and I noticed a show that I got coming up, Square Circle Pro, September 18th in Lubbock, Texas. If y'all are there, show up, like come see me. And if y'all aren't, order the pay-per-view online.
Thank you, Mr. Reggie Lincoln. We appreciate your time, brother. And for you listeners, don't forget to share our Facebook page,
Sure.
Five Star Revolution Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Five Star Revolution Podcast. Mr. Reggie Lincoln, we wish you the best of luck in your career. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
your time, sir.
Oh yeah, subscribe to my YouTube as well. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that one.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.